What is up, guys? We are live. Let me actually get out of this sun. A little too much for me. Looks like we got some people joining in. Hang out here for a tad until people get in. How's everybody doing? What's up, Balanced Life Canine? Kim, what's going on? Not bad, not bad. How's it going, guys? All right. So this is a topic I wanted to talk about the other night. Didn't get around to it. Looks like it's a good time. A lot of people getting on. I see a lot of people starting to heart right away. Something you might want to invite followers to start sharing this. What's up, Victor? What's up, Randy? How's it going? This topic is going to be about whining and growling. And it's just going to be my opinions on, like, do you correct it? Do you ignore it? Where do we go about it? And first thing I'm going to go ahead and say is that everything that we're about to get into is obviously my opinion. I'm pretty sure it usually is. And that opinion is based on... Oh, awesome. Well, thanks for joining on Periscope. Is based on experience. So some of that experience is from me being very, very successful. Some of it is experience from messing up a ton of times and saying, how could I have done that differently, right? So here's how we're going to get into it. Suckle, move, beat it. You got a bone under there or something? I'll get it later. So here we go. There are a lot of different opinions. I still didn't get to read my buddy's blog over at the Good Dog. A lot of you guys know Sean O'Shea. I know that there was a blog. It might have just been a post that he put out. And I did read the lines where there's smoke, there's fire. So I do believe that. And I'm not sure where they went with it. And I'm pretty sure that with what they said, I probably wouldn't agree with. Like, I love a lot of what they do. So here we go. There's a couple different things. So first, we'll jump into growling. A lot of people correct growling. A lot of people, see the dog growling, they want to tell the dog no right away. And then there's also a large wave of people that will say, listen, growling is a warning, so you should reward that or you should nurture that because a growl is better than like a bite or a lunge or something like that. And I do agree with that. However, I think there's a time and place, and you need to know when it's appropriate and when it might not be, right? So I believe that it depends on how the dog is growling. And a lot of people might hear that and be like, oh, here he goes again. I don't know. But I really do think it really depends on the dog, right? So just similar to like babies, you can tell why they're crying. Okay, like this baby is crying. Is it crying because it's hungry? Is it crying because it's in pain? Is it crying because it wants attention? And I don't necessarily need you to read a dog's growling that way, although if you could and you know it, and you can, by the way, same thing with barks and everything, it definitely doesn't hurt, it definitely helps. But I believe that if we have a hardcore, like a dog that comes into rehab and is struggling with human aggression, dog aggression, whatever it is, and is a real deal killer, like will without hesitation is lunging, is going nuts, is exploding and attacking these dogs and these people, and you're doing some work and it gets to the point that now you start seeing cutoff cues where a dog might start, kind of showing this and moving away and growling as it's moving away. In a situation like that, you can do some pretty solid rehearsals that are probably gonna have to actually get rid of these guys. Hold on one sec. I guess we're actually getting a little popular now, and we're getting a bunch now, so we'll have to block these dudes and get through to all of them in a little bit. But anyway, as I'm doing this, in that situation, that type of growl, I would probably nurture, right? Anybody that is actually here. Oh wow, we have 217 now, huh? Check that out. Well, you know what? We can just let this go down either way because you guys are going to be able to see it, and this is just more of a talking blog in general. So I guess I probably don't have to too crazy. Yeah, I know that's crazy. Anybody that's actually watching this, don't type on the keyboard right now, because if you are, I don't want to block you by mistake. Right? Okay, now we're back in action, right? It'll start fading out. I think it's just like a computer glitch or something like that. But anyway, it looks like they're all leaving now. We'll get back to like the main thing here in a bit. In that situation, I'll nurture that. We actually do some Plan B stuff where you have dogs that they're on the decline, and as they're on the decline, sorry, I'm kind of losing my my thought process as I'm doing this. But as they're on the decline from doing something, it's like, okay, that's progress, because the dog is not doing what it is. It's starting to kind of get better. And if I have a dog that instead of lunging out to make something that they're nervous about go away, they're trying to avoid as a choice before they're pushed into a corner, definitely reward that. You have to advocate. You have to stop that other person or that other dog, and you don't want to correct that growling, for sure. However, if I have a dog that's in place, and let's say a dog was rambunctiously jumping like toward it and stuff, and the dog is like trying to move and then it growls, obviously that's a situation where I should have advocated. I shouldn't have let that dog go in. But if you have a dog that is just calmly minding their business, that just happens to be walking by, and then the dog that's in place is kind of growling, that I will correct. And I believe that you should correct that. So for everybody else that is actually on here, it looks like we have a good amount of people after that troll session, whatever that was. Definitely make sure you're hearting away for this, right? Growling at you to back away, I will correct the hell out of that. Dogs are not allowed to growl at me for food, or growl at me for a bone, or any of that. Did I block Karen by accident? What's her name? There's a way to type it up. I can, after the session, I can block it. Whoops. But yeah, we'll get back to that. So there's different ways to correct it. That's not the scope at the topic of this, but that's important. Now, but we'll jump into that. Now, what's really, really important is jumping into that. You're gonna jump into, what was the other thing? It was growling and what was the other thing that we were talking about? It was growling and whining. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it. So whining is sort of on the same boat, and a lot of this is from experience, because thanks guys, because I have had awesome experience and I have had like bad experiences. I've had both of them being learning experience, really, really successful and really, really like, man, like what is going on? What do I do? So through the years of me experimenting with that and the trial and error, I guess you can say, really helping dogs and really messing up dogs, which is a part of learning. You know, that's just what it is. I don't think I've ever really messed up a dog, but you know, like dogs that I said, I could have helped you out. Like if I would have worked with you now, I really would have gotten you to a good place, even better than where we got you. But with whining, it's sort of on the same page for me. I think that it depends on the type of anxiety that you're dealing with. Grade A anxiety, real major anxiety, there has to be a degree of ignoring whining and commotion and stuff. And with that, it's because some of it is a pattern that a dog has learned, where they go, okay, like my whining and my the reason I'm doing this, I know I'm going to get attention. And when you have some major league grade A anxiety cases, even coming in to correct or yell or whatever you do, like bang on a crate or something like that, that type of attention can actually be pleasing for them. Oh, okay, at least he came. It's still attention, right? There's also jumping into me ignoring it as the person, but using something like a bark collar where they're getting addressed for it, but it's not coming from me, so they're not getting my attention, right? And then there's knowing that a dog was going hardcore, like barking, going crazy in a crate, let's say, like harf, 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 going nuts, and let's say I went ahead and I corrected, and then it started turning into like more whining. For me, that's a shot that a dog is on the decline in a good way, like meaning the dog is starting to subside. if I mess around and continue to try to correct, unless I know the dog, I run the risk at the dog was trying to settle, but the dog can't just turn it off. The dog hasn't learned how to do that yet. So the dog is trying to settle, and now I'm interrupting that, and I'm making the dog more anxious. I see that sometimes with anxiety, and a lot of trainers and people mess that up. I've done that before too in the past. So you have to be a good judge. And you have to see, okay, you know what, that seems like it's getting better. It might be riding out for a little bit, but it's not here. It's kind of going, and anxiety tends to come in waves. So you have to see during that waves, can you address it? And is it starting to go down, and there's a little bit of a smoothness before the anxiety spike comes again? And then, and these are all little things that you have to look at. So, I didn't read Sean O'Shea's thing, but when there's smoke, there's fire. I've been wanting to talk about this topic for a while, and then I saw, as I was going to talk about it, he wrote something. I was like, this is so perfect. I do want to get around to reading his, and I'm not sure where he went with that, but I will say where there's smoke, there's fire. Very, very true, but we have to determine what type of smoke that is. Is that smoke... Is it smoking because we just finished putting out the fire, and now there's a little bit of smoke? Listen, you got to ignore that. If you put out the fire and there's a little bit of I don't know, is the correct word, residual smoke as it's on its way out, leave it. Leave it. Is it smoking because a fire is about to start? You better find where that is and you better put it out, right? So that's the situation for me with whining and in some situations growling, although they're a little bit different. And you have to know why your dog is doing that. Is there a way that you can help settle it? What's the definition of correcting? Is correcting saying, no, do this, and helping the dog do something that it already knows how to do? Or do you need to actually correct the whining? Like, listen, I don't care what you do, you can't do that. So there's so many different forms of correction, types of corrections. You have to judge what the dog knows, what the dog doesn't know. Is your dog does it seem like your dog is subsiding a little bit? Does it seem like it's escalating? Was your dog subsiding for a little bit and then it's going for a while, and it seems to now be consistent? Okay, I have to give this a shot, and I have to kind of chill this dog, and it might work the dog up, and then they might settle again. These are all things that you have to look at, and this is part of the relationship building with learning and really getting to know that specific dog, because every dog is different, right? And that's my opinion on this, and I really think it's important that people understand that there really is not one way. There's no right or wrong. You have to understand the dog, where the dog is, why the dog might be whining, what's going on. There's so many things to look at and factors, and I pretty much fall in the same I guess on the same side of things when it comes to a lot of things, that there's a time and place, and there's usually a reason where you could be using something. There's usually a reason where you shouldn't be using something, even like situations like flooding, situations like fear. Like, we speak about all this on our Periscopes. We speak about all this. All of our Periscopes here get archived on catch.me, KATCH.com. And then you can search Dream Come True Canine and Dream Come True, the letter K, number 9, and you can see all our Periscopes. We do a lot of these Blake's Takes topics, also hands-on training and stuff like that. And I'm sure we've done some stuff on Facebook Live and on our Facebook page, on our Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. But I definitely wanted to talk about this topic because I felt like it was an important one, and I wanted to give my opinion. A lot of people have been asking about it, PMing me, commenting on pictures and videos and stuff, and I just wanted to give you guys my opinion. And that's where I fall on this. So it really, really depends, and you gotta know your stuff before you just go for it. And if you go for it, sometimes there's a little bit experimenting, but it's better to experiment once you have some other foundation stuff. What's up, Chris? How are you, man? Foundation stuff set. Where you have a little bit of a relationship, so that you can really experiment instead of just trying to wing it the second you meet this dog. You probably run the risk of making the dog more anxious, right? So these are all things that you have to look at when you're training, when you're a dog owner, when you're a dog handler, all that good stuff, right? So that's my opinion on that. I know I meant to talk about that yesterday, and I dropped the ball, but that is that. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. So that was the episode of Blake's Takes. If you guys have any questions or stuff, we can ask. I can answer a couple. Oh, awesome! I'm really happy to hear that, and I really appreciate all the hearts as always, guys. It means a lot. All that good stuff. The bark collar will correct high whines. It won't correct kind of like that low stuff, and sometimes the low stuff doesn't need to be corrected because it's on the decline. Sometimes you might want a remote collar on that dog. So there's a couple things you got to look at. It is tough though. Kate sometimes those don't get addressed. So once you have a dog that's chilling out, usually those low whines have a really good shot of subsiding. If they're not tolerable, then you have to address that. But usually those low whines are on the decline. If they're really being consistent and like steady, then it's something you want to look to address. And then I would say get them off the bar collar, put them on a remote, because you can on a higher level interrupt, and then on a lower level help to down the dog, and then help them relax in that sort of down position, right? So that's my opinion on that, right? All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. I got some stuff to do. Thanks so much for listening in. Blake's Takes, thanks so much for the hearts. For those of you guys that are not familiar, we're based out of Manhattan, but we do travel the world for our work. This is the logo right here. We have a YouTube, a lot of free information that we're giving out. We do these periscopes here. They're archived on Catch.me. We have an Instagram page. We have a YouTube channel, Facebook. I'm sure there's stuff that I'm missing. We do Facebook Live, all that good stuff, and everything is Dream Come True K9, letter K, number 9. The website, we're doing blogs. We're doing one blog a week. DCTK9.com is the initials. We should have a new blog later on this week. And then I completely forgot to put on Instagram the Ask Your Dog Behavior question here post, so that we can get episode 34 of our Dog Behavior Question Tuesday show on YouTube. A little behind on that. I guess I'll post that tonight, and hopefully we can film that tomorrow. All right, guys, take care.